Good evening. Educational reform is what our country needs very quickly, not to be delayed at all. Now, I'm making this video because I recognise there's a lot of people out there who can't necessarily get involved in the culture wars which are raging now. It's coming towards some sort of blowout. But we lost a generation in a way. I mean, even the ones who didn't go completely woke and come back completely different as a different sex or a racist, evil bigot, they still had to go through all the same training. And when I say training, it wasn't teaching, it was indoctrinating, so it was training. So their worldview will be different as well. So even though I admire the few who've come forward about it, I'm sure there's many more, but there are a few who've publicly come forward about it. I admire it. I think it's a brave thing to do, but I can't see how they weren't at all influenced. Now, indoctrination seems like a big word, but it's not. It's exactly what you say it is. It's like a religious cult. It's like Christianity, if you like. That's not, because it doesn't have the same kind of deity. But so you've got your original sin. Says Jesus right there. Their sins being straight. And then you have the Saviour, which is Jesus when he rises from the cloth, rises from the cave, which is quite poignant because it's Easter. And then you've got your rescuer or your Saviour. And then your perpetrator is anything in the world that doesn't go with your needs and wants and desires. Young people today have needs, wants, and desires. They don't have fully educated brains. For the first time in history, literacy, mathematics, and all sciences, the whole STEM field, have produced a generation that is less intelligent than the last one, and considerably. So we can't let this happen again. So this is what my plan is, we need absolute ownership over the syllabuses our children are taught. And when I say ownership, absolute right to see them at any time in any lesson. If your child having a maths lesson on the Tuesday, you should be able to contact the school and ask for the rundown of what that child was taught. Because what's been happening is they've just opened a woke kindergarten in San Francisco to teach with kids to be woke earlier, because 5-year-olds wasn't enough for them. So that is the plan, and it is backed by serious big money. It could be even foreign money that's backed the whole upheaval. But it's got to be changed, and it's got to be changed dramatically and quickly. And when I say dramatically, you don't have to make a drama of it, but quickly. So I'm in England. The next school year starts in September. I would expect these things to be in place. Parents have the right to discuss any subject they want about their child without any kind of coercion or any kind of input from a teacher unless it's asked for. Secondly, that their rights come before any rights of the teaching establishment. So the children's rights obviously come first, then the parents' rights, and then the teaching establishment's rights. So we don't get what's happening in Canada where parents lose their rights. And they're no longer parental rights. So that's one thing. That we have the ability to object to certain syllabuses being taught and be able to remove our children from those things being taught without any repercussions. And for it not, I'd even push it further because it'll be a negotiating point, and no record that they ever did. Because that's probably where they push back. So this is very serious. There was a guy testifying in Congress today. He was He was 19. He was a cross-country skier from Alaska. He came to testify as an expert witness in front of Senator John Kennedy, a presidential candidate, about climate change. And how did he get on? Well, he didn't know what carbon dioxide was, but he was sure it made up most of the gas in the atmosphere. And so it's supposed to be an expert. I mean, it was hard. He could have dug himself a complete hole for his whole culture, but John Kennedy was a bit quick on the mark. So, forgive me. He basically just said that he knows nothing about carbon dioxide. He said it's a huge part of our atmosphere. It's actually a minuscule part of our atmosphere in comparison to nitrogen. So he hasn't learnt shit, and he's 18, 19. Well, at 7 to 10, every school children should know that carbon dioxide is what we breathe out, what trees breathe in, and they breathe out oxygen. Everybody should know that. That is the basics of science, the basics of human biology. So I say the age 10 just because maybe you want to get to a secondary school or a higher level of your school that you're at, but I can't think at age 10 of any of my friends who would have not known the answer to that question. Or at least if I'd not known it, I'd have not gone to speak to a US senator about it, unarmed and unprepared. It's important that we it's not going to happen overnight, and it's going to take a bit of time, but I'll be starting a petition about this. And at the very least, I'd like you to sign it if you're a parent or have grandchildren, because, and I say this to simplify things, do you want a racist, angry, sexually confused teenager or granddaughter because of the schooling system? What's the answer? So you got racist, gender confused, and angry. Is that what you want your child to be? Racist, gender confused, and angry? Certainly not the way I see things. So we need to have enough people on board with just helping out at that educational level, so at least we can curb something from escalating. We've got the culture wars, we've got free military wars. Something needs to chill out for a while, because we're not built for all of this. So I'll leave it there. Honestly, if you want to look into critical race theory, do a bit of research. You'll see what they're teaching our children. If you want to look into queer theory in schools, do a bit of research. You'll see what they're doing to our children. And I'm going to leave it there. I hope you found this informative, and I hope you will take some level of action, even if it is just simply demanding the syllabuses and making sure that they are teaching those. Then that will be a big difference. And lots of people making small, not sacrifices, but small investments into their children. It's only one child, or it's only children that you have or grandchildren you have. If everybody does that, well, then there's no one to teach anything radical to, which would be great. And there I will leave it and bid you good night. Happy Easter.